frightened of me. And she even went so far as to seek a restraining order against me on the basis of fearing for her personal safety. And yet she doesn't seem to have a problem standing within 10 feet of me or so these days. So maybe she got over her irrational fear that she actually had no reasonable grounds to have. So anyhow, yeah, she seems quite cheerful, chuckling, laughing. You know, the person she claimed to be very, 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 very frightened of is standing, well, not more than 15 feet away from her. And she doesn't seem to be the least bit frightened. So it does raise the question of whether or not her claims to be very frightened of me were just bullshit. And in case of making those claims to the police, public mischief, and in the sense of making those claims in court in front of a judge and sworn testimony, perjury. So yes, I think it's reasonable for me to question, you know, whether or not Reverend Diane Rollert, to say nothing of other Montreal Unitarians who've made false accusations against me, is guilty of public mischief in the sense of bringing a false report to the police, and is guilty of perjury in the sense of lying in sworn testimony in court. So, as I said, you know, here's Diane Rollert, not very far away from me, not looking the least bit frightened of me. And I have to add that, you know, they managed to obtain the restraining order because they got one of the worst judges in Quebec presiding over the hearings, and that judge prevented me from properly cross-examining Reverend Diane Rollert about her alleged fear. And so it was not possible for me to fully and properly challenge Reverend Diane Rollert's claim to be very frightened of me as a result of this judge preventing me from cross-examining her and so on. But what's interesting is they got the restraining order. It was for a one-year period, and you know, when that one-year period was over, I resumed my protest. And the very same day that I resumed my protest, which was just 1 year after Reverend Diane Rollert, you know, claimed to be very, very, very frightened of me and of fearing for her personal safety, she came out of the church and walked even closer. She walked right up to the stairs there, and I was standing quite close. I was like right where the line is. So we're talking about 3 or 4 feet between me and Reverend Diane Rollert, and she quite forcefully told me that I had no right to be there. She you know, came right out of church, right within a few feet of me, and said, you know, you have no right to be here. Which aren't exactly the actions of a woman who's really very, very, very frightened of me and fears for her personal safety. So it really does raise the question of public mischief in terms of making false complaints to the police, and perjury in terms of lying in sworn testimony in court. So of course she's doing her very best to pretend I'm not here, as is John Inder, who's yawning there, and everyone else. So we're going to fix the picket signs that got blown down, and we shall come back and continue. But what they're going to do is they're going to start singing a song and march a little procession into the church. But there's really not very many, about less than 10 from what I can see. Looks like 9 maybe. No, it's actually 10. It's 10 on the nose, 10 people. I suppose there are others inside. Not everyone's involved in this procession into the church. But it really does call into question, you know, how many people are attending the Unitarian Church in Montreal these days. You know, when you can only muster 10 or so to do a little procession into the church, you know, maybe a dozen to 15, it really doesn't say much about membership levels. And speaking of such things, actually, it's not really recorded on video because I was narrating the church sign thing, but you know, somebody actually did come by while I was videoing the fixing of the crooked church sign, and you know, they came on a bike, a younger person, you know, looked like sort of university student age, and they saw my chalk slogans. They looked very much like they were coming to the church, you know, they were coming to attend a service here. They saw my chalk slogans, they saw my picket signs, and they went on their way. Oh, it looks like they're starting to go in, maybe. No, maybe not. Okay, so anyhow, we shall continue to display our unsafe sector picket sign to the cars going by here. And who knows, if we're lucky we might get a affirmative honk. The wind keeps blowing down my freestanding picket signs, which isn't helping. I like to have a few picket signs standing up against trees and posts and stuff. Oh, here they go, here they go. Did I hear them say this is a fascist church? Sounded something like that. Now, I'm joking here, but actually they did say something that sounded like fascist. And considering just how totalitarian Montreal Unitarians are in terms of misusing police power to suppress freedom of speech and freedom of expression and peaceful public protest, a little hint of totalitarianism there. Can't really say fascism per se because they're not really tied to corporate power, but I like to use the term totalitarian Unitarians because they definitely have a streak of totalitarianism in their Unitarianism. So a few people just putting there. Hello?
Why don't you let these people come here and worship in peace?
Sorry?
Why don't you let them come here and worship in peace?
Because they are not peaceful themselves.
Yeah,
what? Come on what?
It's a beautiful day. You think people coming here with their children and stuff need to see all this?
Yes, they do. Because read the chalk slogan.
I read all your things, sir.
Good.
You're not. I hear your message.
Right. Don't you think
I have a problem with the way you're delivering your message?
Well, you know, I've tried other ways to deliver it. I've written letters.
Listen, I'm a black man living in NDG.
Right.
All kinds of injustices happen to me on a daily basis.
Right.
On a daily basis. You don't see me down here upsetting people, and this is a place of worship.
It's a place of bullshit is what it is, actually.
Don't talk like that. No.
Yes,
no.
Am
I being disrespectful to you?
What?
I don't go to this church. I'm not a member of this church.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is...
I'm not a member.
No, but you can call it worship. Do you know anything about this church?
I know plenty about churches.
No, do you know anything about this church?
I know that my father's United Church minister for 50 years.
Right, this is a Unitarian church.
That's fine. It's a church. These people are coming here to be peaceful.
This is not they're coming here to be peaceful. You could... yeah, maybe for, you know, I've actually been physically assaulted by some of the members of this church right here in front of this church.
I can believe it.
So that's not peaceful.
What you're doing isn't right.
No, it's absolutely right. I am protesting against cover-up and denial of child sex abuse by...
Go to the news.
I have gone to the news. No, they wouldn't. You know why? Because half a dozen members of the Unitarian Church of Montreal are Gazette employees. That's why. No, I absolutely would not. I'd vote for Bernie Sanders if I could, but he's not available.
It's a day to be doing this.
No, it's a beautiful day to be doing this. It's a beautiful day to be doing this.
Hope you don't get assaulted.
Hope I don't get a what?
Hope you don't get assaulted.
Yeah, so do I, but I don't mind. They're usually minor and they end up in video looking like assholes on YouTube. So this guy trying to tell me I shouldn't be protesting. Well, I disagree, obviously. And yeah, this is one of the attitudes of some members of the public, is that you just don't protest against the church. You just don't do it. You know, it's a church. They're above being protested against. Well, No, I'm sorry. They absolutely deserve this protest. And it wouldn't, I would not be displaying chalk slogans that say Unitarians cover up and deny child sex abuse if A, Unitarians did not cover up and deny child sex abuse, and B, after having done so, change their behavior. But the problem is that Unitarian Universalists don't want to deal with the injustices and abuses and hypocrisy that I'm protesting against. When Unitarians misused blasphemy law to hide rape, and as far as I'm concerned, they're still misusing blasphemy law. It's not a thing of the past. It's happening right now, but at a lower level than they initially intended. By that, I mean, they accused me of the criminal act of blasphemous libel in an effort to intimidate me into removing blog posts about pedophilia and rape committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers, and essentially threatened me with being charged and tried, and in their minds convicted of a crime that carries a 2-year jail term in an effort to hide sex crimes committed by Unitarian Universalists. They haven't withdrawn that accusation. When they made that false accusation, I very, very early on told them, well, no, you're going to do a few things. You're going to formally withdraw that accusation. You're going to publicly apologize for it. And you're going to tell the truth about just how many Unitarian Universalist ministers and Unitarian Universalist Sunday school teachers have been charged, tried, and convicted of such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. Your efforts to hide this stuff are not going to work. But of course they haven't done that. They have not withdrawn the accusation. And as far as I'm concerned, if you do not withdraw an accusation that you have made, well, then you're standing by that accusation. So until such a time as the Unitarian Universalist Association formally withdraws its false blasphemous libel accusation against me, I will be governing myself in a manner, in a